It's the internet and my mic was doing weird stuff. Internet and my mic was doing weird stuff. Internet and my mic was doing weird stuff. Why are we not broadcasting properly? I don't know. 'Cause I'm over here live streaming for real. But over here I'm not. Boo, 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 boo. Well, either way, the live stream is a happening. And it is a Monday. It is Monday, the 19th of June, 2017. So, today's live stream is brought to you by yours truly, myself. And no other sponsors, just the fans. That is you guys. Let me run through the Super Chatter supporters. Eddie, Longwoo, Feel My Swag, Eddie Kaitia, Joel Gillett, Aquarium Co-op, Minnesota Aquariums, etc., etc., Tai Hang, my man, and etc., etc., Luis Q, etc., etc. So, it is Monday. So what do we have going on today on Monday? Let's see what's happening. Why is not... So we're not broadcasting through here, but it's broadcasting through there. I don't know. So we'll see what's happening. What's up, Josh Cuesta? What's up, Joel Gillett? Hello. Ahoy, hoy. Ahoy, hoy, internet. Go to the main... All right. Well, I posted in the other one, so we'll see how this goes. Is Corey's, Joel Gillett says, hopefully Corey's awesome wife will have macaroons for you when you go visit them. I like macaroons. I like macaroons a lot. So hopefully there are macaroons. That would be delightful. I'd be in for that. For sure. I like macaroons, especially when they're the good ones. But it's a Monday here, so what is happening today? Okay, so we're going to answer some of the questions from yesterday. I lost the chat file from yesterday, so I'm going to have to kind of go from memory here in regards to what we were talking about yesterday. I got to click the thing over here. Hold on. It's, what is the thing I forgot to click? Where is it? Community. There it is. Now we got all the messages pulled up there now, so I'll be able to look over there and do it. Look at this crazy zit I got right here on my forehead. What am I? 15? I have to multiply that a few times out to get my age. But anyhow... Happy Monday, everyone out there. It was a lovely 75 degrees today in Tacoma, Washington. Like this kind of partly cloudy kind of mix in the air, which is perfect. I think realistically it was perfect. I wore my long sleeves today, so I was having a bit of feeling like I was having heat stroke by the middle of the day, like an idiot, and I just kept deciding to keep working instead of losing my long sleeves, and now I feel a little bit dehydrated. But one of the questions yesterday was they were asking in regards to some different types of shrimp. And all we had was the street names of them. And Stephen Skoglund got back to me in regards to what he was kind of trying to ask about. Caridina cantonensis, and then the species B is the scientific name for both variations, same species, just different color morphs. So that was the real confusion behind the shrimp questions from yesterday. The street names were becoming an issue. People trying to figure out what shrimp is what shrimp in regards to the street names, which is why we more often than not have to stick to the scientific name, or we all get confused, and then we don't know what we're doing anymore. Sorry, I'm trying to find my Band-Aid. I just got done taking care of nasty thumb, and I'm going to put a new Band-Aid on it, which generally keeps happening during the live stream for whatever reason every night. Generally because I've been messing around in the fish tanks, making dinner and washing the dishes and stuff, and then my Band-Aid is gross, so I clean my nasty thumb and put a new Band-Aid on it. Big E's, what's up, man? Ryan S., what's going on? Hello. Happy Monday to you. We were just talking about some of the questions from yesterday's live streams. If you guys if you guys missed the live streams, which seems to be a slight bit of an issue because people are wondering what the schedule is like. The schedule here is a little bit loosey-goosey, honestly, because I have so many projects that I need to go do to realistically go make money. I don't really. Maybe someday I'll make enough money off YouTube to not have to go do that and just be able to make videos and live streams all day. But so my schedule is constantly in flux, and so what I've tried to do here is work out being able to do 5 live streams a week. Okay, and on the weekdays, so Monday through Thursday, essentially 8 p.m. specific time, which is where I live, specific time, and it's a small joke. It's Pacific Time, America, PST. Around 8 o'clock is when I'm able to do them. So 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock is when I'm able to do them, like Monday through Thursday. And then Friday is sort of a flux day. Who knows when it could be? It could be late night. Could be right when I get home from work. Who knows? But Saturday and Sunday are earlier live streams. So everybody who's like, in the UK and whatnot and kind of complaining about them being at the super weird time for you guys, I try to do them early here. So it's evening time there. So around, 12 or 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock specific time here. So that's kind of the schedule, and I understand that it's loose and it's hard to kind of follow and stuff. I typically don't put out the notification ahead of time. I did that tonight, so we'll try and see how that worked. For whatever reason, when I go to, so I set up the live stream event, and then I go, so if I set it up ahead of time, and then I go to stream it from my encoder, for whatever reason, it just goes to the live stream dashboard instead of the live stream event for whatever reason. I'm not 100% sure why it's doing that, if I've done something wrong to anger the YouTube gods, but that was the way that I did it in the past, and it worked, and now it doesn't seem to work that way anymore. But it does come up live, so maybe that works, maybe not. You guys let me know if it's better for you guys to get a notification an hour or two ahead of time. If you're not getting the notifications at all, you need to go to my main YouTube page and click on the little bell next to the subscribe button, and that will turn the notification. It'll give you an option to turn the notifications back on. Click yes, and then you'll get like an email notification when this stream goes up, and you'll be able to just come pop on if you like. I have that turned on a few YouTube channels. I can't have it turned on to all of them because I would be getting 1,000 emails a day. So I understand if you guys have that all turned off. If you guys have that all turned off, then I understand it gets it definitely difficult. Seth's Fish Tanks, what's up? Dwayne Kitchell is having terrible issues with echoes and looping on XSplit YouTube live streams. I don't know why it's doing that for you. I've had so many issues recently that I feel your pain, my man. I don't know why it would be doing that. It really should just have one audio stream coming to you. Unless you have XSplit maybe on in the background or something like that. The easy way to do that from a PC is hit Control-Alt-Delete, head to Task Manager, and turn off any background programs that are operating from the Task Manager. That would be the easiest, quickest remedy that I would say to look up. Anything more than that, you may damage your computer. No, don't worry. damage your computer. I fully endorse damaging the computer as much as possible. Brad Faust checking in. He's digging the checkerboard wall behind me. Thank you. That is part of the sound deadening in here. We have a more sound deadening wall, so it's actually foam. You could go run and bounce off it, and it's not super thick foam, so maybe you'd only be a little bit less damaged from running into my walls. My walls here are lath and plaster, so they probably won't give out like drywall, and you'll probably just end up injuring yourself if you were to do that. So that's kind of an issue if you weren't going to go running into the wall. Biggie's wait from my shipping from Sergeant Tank. Okay, I don't know what that means. That's confusing. Been building tin boxes since the 80s, Dwayne. Oh, yeah. I build all my computers, too. I'm a pretty big nerd when it comes to that kind of stuff. Vicky looks at me like a crazy person because I research the new stuff coming out, and I definitely like Linus Tech Tips. I watch that guy's videos, or I listen to them more often than not, quite often, because those guys get to test a ton of stuff that I can't afford, which is pretty cool. I dig all that stuff. I dig computer stuff for sure. I love building them and doing all that. Big E's is going to order fish, I guess. Joel Gillett, you like to fantasize about violently assaulting your phone multiple times a day. I agree. I have that same thing happens to me on a regular basis. And the thing that soothes me is I remember the Louis C.K. bit. If you've ever seen the Louis C.K. bit where he goes, "It's going to space. Just give it a second." That's kind of what calms me down from actually smashing my phone. Same bit helps me with airline flights, too. There's the same bit of his. Not my material. That's Louis' material. Hey, but we're about the 10, 12 minute mark, so I have to do the business aspect where we do the, hey, you guys, blah, 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 brought to you by blah, blah, blah commercial part, right? Now, I don't write this down. I just wing it because whatever. It's not really a commercial. It's just realistically me going, hey, if you guys want to support the channel or not, blah, 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 sit through this minute spiel, okay? First way, there's two ways to support this channel right here and the projects ongoing. The first way to do it is go to darkstararts.com. That is my website. There's no malware or anything weird on there. But you can look at some of the paintings I've made and some of the projects and some of my writing and blah, 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 whatever, up on there, darkstararts.com. And you can click through the Amazon banner and go buy whatever the hell you want from Amazon. Now, it basically just kicks us back the advertising thing. Doesn't change the prices for you or anything like that. It just says that we sent you to Amazon. If you have done this in the past, go back and do it again, because anytime you click on any other type of Amazon advertising or Amazon banner or any kind of ad banner or anything like that, they track you from there. So if you did it a long time ago and you thought it was cool, it will expire as soon as you click on any other ad thing after the fact. So basically, if you click on something like on Facebook, then that's the tracker that they will know that you went and bought stuff from Amazon. So if that makes sense to you, if it's really confusing, don't stress about it too much. It's not a big deal. If you want to do it, you can. If you don't, you don't have to. No one's twisting your arm. The other way, the secondary way to support this channel here and the projects ongoing out in my shop are to click the like button, watch the video, and possibly super chat if you like. We've had a lot of contributors in the super chat variety. You can kick in $1, $10, or if you're cool, and I always pick on Mark Zuckerberg, go ahead and just drop about 100 million right down in that super chat there. Maybe we'll throw Paul Allen into the bunch today. Who's another rich guy? Jeff Bezos. Jeff Bezos, hey man, if you can buy Whole Foods, hey man, kick a guy a buck, So making fun of rich guys is kind of fun. Maybe they'll come after me, who knows. But so if you guys have really urgent questions that you need to get through to me, the easy way to do that is to super chat, and then they'll come up in the chat feed post haste. So if that's how you want to contribute, you can. If not, you don't have to. Just watch the video and then super chat however much money you got in your bank account, right? I kid. It's not a big deal. But we're moving on to the video portion of Monday's live stream, the 19th. Beautiful 19th of July. I was almost said July. June. It's June, right? We're almost to the middle of the year, which is kind of freaking me out at this point, honestly. So we have to go over here and click onto scene 3, and do I have everything loaded properly? Yes! Yes! Sweet victory! I actually had everything loaded properly this time. So our first video here is actually right after I planted the Monte Carlo yesterday. So the Monte Carlo is what's going in this little portion of the 240-gallon acrylic aquarium here in the fish room. So you get all nerdy, make a nerdy guy voice, stereotypical nerdy guy voice. So the Monte Carlo is actually going to be taking up this little spot here. Those of you that have been following the trials and tribulations of everything from my fish room being murdered, this is one of a tiny portion of plant that has survived. And you will see a couple more plants that actually survived that were in a different bucket, sort of disregarded. And I'll be planting those a little bit later in the video. But this is right after I planted the Monte Carlo and got the Cryptocorn undulata, the other pot that I got of that cryptocrine, however people want to call it. I say cryptocorn. Some people can say cryptocrine. But undulata is the variety here that is going to be going in. Those of you guys that watched yesterday would know that there was like 45-ish plants in this one pot. I've been giving everybody the hot tip to buy plants that have been in the store for a long time, blah, 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 blah. But this is me actually planting it and apparently running into the camera while I'm planting it. So the camera bops around a little bit, which is pretty good. Those of you that are maybe not super experienced in planting plants, oftentimes you watch a video and guys will be planting an aquarium that is empty and just has the substrate, which is actually the dirt and the rocks, and otherwise called the hardscape. To those of you kind of new people and trying to get with the lingo and understand what's going on, the hardscape is the substrate, the driftwood, and the rocks, if somebody refers to the hardscape. But you'll see a lot of guys that they scape the tank by putting the plants in while the the tank is empty. I don't like to do that personally, and I'm going to explain to you guys why I don't like to do that as we come along here. I like to get the hardscape in and flood the tank and get the tank running, which means I like to get my substrate in. The substrate that is here is old fish poopy substrate that I've had for a long time. So you can see how it really mixes up a lot of clouds into the tank and causes a lot of issues in the whole, the viewing ability to look into the tank, which is not a big deal at this juncture in time in my tank. That's not going to be a problem. I'm filtering this all out, and the next video will show just a quick overnight difference between having all this doo-doo floating around and stuff. Now, so the reason I like to put all my plants in is a multitude of reasons, but I'm going to try and explain those all here. Of why I like to do it this way. Okay, first of all, you're not going to really know where the flow of the water return is actually going to be going around into the tank, right? Unless you're a guy who does, water flow tests like on a regular basis, which I do a little bit, and I'll have an idea where the water is going to flow around in the tank, but you're not really going to know until you have the tank flooded with the pumps turning on and the water moving around the tank. So I want to be able to see how the water flows around the tank, move things about like the nozzles and those kinds of things, and get those things into place. and know where the water is, where my flow is good, where my flow is strong, where my flow is weak, where things would be disturbed or they wouldn't be disturbed, because I want to take into account what kind of plants I'm going to put in what area. You know, if you have some really kind of flimsy plants and you put them, you know, where a ton of water is going by, they're going to be flopping around in the breeze like a poor little tree outside in a freaking hurricane, and that plant isn't going to do very well there, right? But if you have some really fine-rooted, like nicely carpeted small stuff, like for instance this Monte Carlo or baby tears or micro swords or any of that kind of stuff, they like a little bit of heavy flow blowing on them. So that's why that's one of the first reasons why I like to have it flooded, so I know where the water's flowing around, and I can also figure out, hey, maybe I need to move a couple of rocks or this or that because there's a ton of water flow here and it's hitting this one rock and then getting disturbed and going all wonky, right? Now, I guess the secondary reason, which is what I kind of just talked about, was whether or not the plants are going to flow properly, which is what I just talked about. But then now here's the other reason. When I plant them, I want them to be planted in a certain way. If you ever notice a guy who is planting a tank that has no water in it, you're kind of just jamming, trying to jam the roots into the substrate and trying to get this plant to be vertical, being planted properly, right? Then when they flood the tank, half of the plants float back up once they flood the tank because they don't know if the roots are in there properly, if the plant is actually sitting, and I think I just said horizontal like a dipshit, but perpendicular, okay? Substrate like this, plant like this, perpendicular. Give yourself a 90-degree perpendiculation. We'll just invent words while we're on here. Perpendiculation, which is smart, right? Well, sort of. I speak English, and that's, generally why English is so much fun for people to learn. But I can also plant them and know that they're going to be held in and be at that nice 90-degree angle, right? And I know that the roots are actually held in because there's water in there and there's water flowing around. If I misplant something or if I plant something goofy, surprises! Watch out for the sneaky surprises coming up from behind. Sometimes she busts in. That's my scary surprises monster noise. Oh. Yeah. But as I was saying, if I don't have the roots properly in there and the plant floats out, pops out of the substrate, I'll know, oh hey, I didn't get that planted right, and then I'll replant it. So those are a couple of the reasons. I have other reasons, but we're going to turn into this whole thing where I start rambling off on a million different tangents. But you start to get the idea of why I like to have a tank flooded. So a lot of that has to do with personal preference. Yeah, and that's right, Dwayne. She was in the reflection of the tank because she's sneaky. She's in the background of the live stream and the background of the video in the live stream, if you know what I'm saying, right? Which is amazing. And we'll take a little sidebar here and answer some of the questions out of the chat. Although no one super chatted, right? So isn't that how the reason how this works, right? You're supposed to super chat if I'm going to answer it. I'll answer it anyhow. 2580 Ti 25 ID. Man, some of you guys got some confusing handles. You know what I'm saying? 2580 Aditya 25. Okay, I don't know if I'm saying that right, but it looks like you got an Assassin's Creed little guy on your avatar. Guy, right? Okay. He's asking, what carpeting plants would I recommend for a low-light dirted tank? Well, if you've been following me for a long time, I wouldn't recommend a low-light dirted tank. Anyhow, if you have a dirted tank, read the Wallstad method. That is the lady who invented dirting a fish tank. It is no secret. Read that book. I think the thing costs $5. It really doesn't cost that much. Get that book. I think it's like 90 pages long. It's 40 years old and been time tested and mother approved. What's her name? It's not Linda. It's like Crystal Wallstad or something. Wallstad is her last name, but look that up. Look up aquariums Wallstad, and you'll get it. Hold on, let me look this up. Aquariums Wallstad. Oh, I forgot now. Wallstad method. The Wallstad method. There it is. The Ecology of the Planted Aquarium. Diana Wallstad. That's her first name, Diana. I was getting her and somebody else mixed up. Diana Wallstad, author of the book Ecology of the Planted Aquarium. And I'm not sure when that book came out. I think it came out in the 70s, honestly. When did that book come out? I don't know. But look that book up. That will give you all of the answers that you need for your dirted aquarium. And if you're calling it a dirted aquarium, give yourself some second thoughts of who taught you that it's called a dirted aquarium. And after reading that book, you'll understand what that's all about, if you know what I'm saying. So, where's the next one? Brad Faust, Corey from Aquarium Co-op said that you were one of the first guys to be live streaming. Does this sound true? Probably. I don't know. I've been doing it for a long time, and I constantly get questions in regards to why don't I have 500,000 subscribers? Why don't I have this? Why don't I have that? I'm pretty organic with how I do this. I have taken some breaks over the years, some extendo breakos. Mainly one of them was to get sober, which was over 3 years ago now that I've been sober this whole time. That was one of the breaks that I had to take because realistically I had no time for making videos or really talking to anybody on the internet, so I had to take a bit of a break. And blah, blah, blah. But I've been definitely really organic with this. I've been doing it for a really long time, and I know that I often talk to people, and they're like, man, I started doing this because of you, which is so awesome. I think it's fantastic because I love watching their videos. You know what I'm saying? Like, especially guys like Corey, man. I love watching his videos. If I get the time, I mean... let's see. We had Carson was here last night, and he was actually like, "Oh, hey, look up Corey's channel and look up your channel." And we did a side by side. We actually had the exact same amount of videos out, 477 videos. So that was hilarious because Carson's like, "You should be doing a lot better," and I'm like, "Thanks, buddy. Thanks for the encouragement." So. What you call it? Yeah, I guess I mean I did start doing this a long time ago, and I think I mainly started out because I was really getting tired of seeing a lot of people talking about horse shit that was wrong, if you know what I'm saying. And apparently Dwayne and Joel are asking who's Corey. Although Corey and Dwayne are moderators on Corey's channel, so I would hope that they know who he is. So hopefully that is all good. Joel says I've been streaming since 1993 and screaming internets. You know what's something I would like to tell you very interesting, a little bit of an interesting story of my original move onto the internet was actually in and around 1993. Around 1991, I think, is when we originally started hooking up to, quote, the internet. And the internet was not what you would even recognize remotely at this point. Has anybody ever even heard of modems having speed, right? There's not a lot of people in the newer generation that have ever even heard of modems having different speeds, right? Modems used to have bit rate that, for instance, you would have a 56K modem, right? Which would stand for 56,000 kilobits, not kilobytes, kilobits of information coming down, which would basically give you enough baud width to read text. Realistically, a stream of text is basically what the internet was at that point in time. Now, that was probably around 95, 96. So if you go back to around 91, 92, 93, there actually wasn't really an internet. There was what was called bulletin boards, okay? The bulletin boards, you had to call up. You had to call them with a telephone, right? And we couldn't even call them with the touch dial telephone. We had to actually call them with a rotary phone because the handheld that we had needed to fit onto the modem itself. So you actually had to pick up the phone, dial it, right? Then you had to pick up that receiver and stick it onto the modem so the modem could hear the signal going back and forth, which basically meant we had a black screen with green text on it, and and we could call up, and we'd always get charged a long distance. By the way, our parents would freak the fuck out because we get long distance charges, which no one knows about nowadays, but long distance charges were crazy, and they never really told you about them or anything. You just get a bill in the mail, and it would be hellacious, okay? Now, we had a black screen with green text on it, and we could go on there, and we could see what other people had put up onto the bulletin boards, right? Back then, we used to play what was called Mega Mud, okay? Mega Mud is basically an MMORPG, right? But only text-based. So everything that you did within this game, you had to read text and write commands, right? So you'd walk into a room, and it would inform you that you were being attacked by a zombie werewolf butthole character, right? And you would just be taking damage, and bad things would be happening while you're trying to figure out, asterisk / attack, blah, blah, blah. But you'd have to type it all out until eventually we started figuring out that, you could program hotkeys into the 10 key over here, and then mash on those, right? Things would happen. And it was a nightmare. It was crazy, but it was the most awesome thing ever also. Okay, it definitely gave me and a lot of nerdy guys something fantastic to do when I wasn't playing soccer or rock climbing or shooting animals or all the crazy stuff I did when I was a kid. I had a very awesome a very awesome childhood. I had a lot of opportunities to learn and do a lot of stuff when I was a kid. And if Vicky and I make a kid, that's what I plan on doing with our kid, is giving them as much opportunities as my parents did to learn and do all sorts of stuff. Excuse me. I've been trying to drink some water here, as I get halfway through the live stream so I don't start hacking up as my throat gets dry. Around the 45-minute mark, we're at the 32-minute mark, which it seems like a preemptive strike. Maybe get a little agua into my throat. But that gives you an idea. That's when I started out on the internet. I'm not sure when I started on YouTube. Honestly, I can't necessarily remember when I started on YouTube. I think I started my account in 2006, but I think I started uploading in 2008 or something crazy like that. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that because I'd have to look it up and scroll through all this stuff. But I have been here a long time. I love doing it, so I keep doing it. Very limited success, but hopefully I've passed on some information. And the other reason why my channel is not super huge, I've definitely taken on a lot. And gone to bat against big companies, which has definitely not helped my reputation with the commercial end of things, if that makes sense. So my collaborating with money sources has been pretty defeatist, honestly. But anyhow, we're going on to the next part. We're going on to the next part of the video here. Wait, hold on. Over there. Oh, okay. I have to point over there to point over there. So I got to wave my arms around, just wave them like I just don't care. I actually have a bunch of almond leaves here that I'm adding into the 240, and people have definitely asked me over the years, hey, where do you get those? I get them off Amazon. I order a big-ass bag of them. I normally order these 300 at a time or something like that. I'm not sure. They come in these nice little bundles. Typically one of them for a... for a 20 or a 30 gallon tank, somewhere in that range, a 40 breeder would be 2 leaves. I take a whole bundle that is 18 in this one, and I put them all in for the 240, the whole bundle. How do I keep track of how many I put in? I put in a bundle. I don't know. Sometimes it's 10, sometimes it's 20. Doesn't really matter. Now, the science on these leaves is still out because no one has really done any kind of real specific studies on them. I was trolling through the college websites that I normally frequent to find scientific papers on stuff, and apparently all of the stuff behind almond leaves is... Brad Faust trolled through it. 2012, 5 years ago, was my first upload on here. So, well, there you go. The first January 13th, 2012. So, I thought it was much earlier than that. I don't know. Let's see. When did I start my account, though? Let me check here. Where is it? Oh, it's in here. Hold on. There it is. Channel. Sorry, guys. I'm going to look this up. Hold on. Lifetime. Hold on, it's loading. It's buffering. Oh, okay. Yeah, there we go. So I actually started my channel in 2008. Current video uploads are, January 29th, 2008. Current uploads right now are from that original date there, the 2013 is when I started on there. But it's none of y'all's business whether there was anything before that or not. All right. So hold on. Let me go back. Let me go back to the messages. There we go. Now we got those messages there. But yeah, that's 2008 is when I joined. There may or may not have been some stuff before the current cutoff right now. Who knows? No one may know. It's probably lost in the ether if that mattered or not. But the current run back is 5.5 years or something like that, right? Does that make sense? Okay. So either way, Oh, okay, Eddie. Yeah, I'm going to get back to you on that PVC pipe. If you have that PVC pipe and you want to send it to me, we will sort that out for sure. I'm sorry. I've been really shitty. Sorry, crappy's not a good enough word. I've been shitty about replying to all the emails that I've gotten lately. It has definitely been a busy time of year. Today I was hand making wainscoting, if you guys know what that is, wainscoting or chair rail or whatever you want to call it. I was handcrafting about 60 feet of that, then primering it and painting it and sanding it and blah, blah, all that kind of stuff. Meanwhile, I'm dealing with, I got a job up near Corey tomorrow and Wednesday, so hopefully we'll end up meeting up. We'll see what's going on with that at whatever time tomorrow. Blah, blah, blah. It's just been really busy. So anybody that haven't gotten back to you, I will get back to you as far as the messages go at some point in time. Eddie, we will figure that out. I would be happy to receive your clear PVC if it's the right size. So if you can get me the interior diameter of it, that'd be great. Otherwise, more often than not, finding fittings for the clear acrylic PVC type tubing has always been the issue that I've always had. Instead of making something janky, I just end up making it out of regular PVC because I don't want it a leak, obviously, at any point in time and have water squirting all over the place. Corey just showed up in the super chat talking about being late. Oh, man, why you late? Better late than never. That's the reality of the world. If you show up for it, what's the thing that they always say at meetings? What's that called? I don't know. We'll just stick with better late than never. That's so boring, though. I'm going to come up with something better than that. It would be more fun. So let's see here. Okay, well, Corey's in the chat. Corey who? Corey what? Internet Pro Skater 7-Elevens. The Pro Skater 7-Elevens has arrived. I would, and Dwayne's talking about getting me a coffee. I would really like a coffee right now. But I have to be up at 4 tomorrow, 4 a.m. in order to get up north. So I think it's probably best to not have any coffee this late at night. Sarah Ann, what's going on? Yes, I am coming down to Oregon very soon. Where is it on the calendar? I think Potato Bro and I talked about it. I think tentatively July 2nd-ish, I think. 1st or 2nd, maybe. So that's not this weekend, because this weekend is jam-packed with nonsense. Also, we have a canine fundraiser that we're going to help. We're going to go volunteer at a canine something like lost dogs, or I don't know, abandoned dogs, orphan dogs, maybe orphan dogs. Maybe orphan dogs would be the way to put it. Orphan dogs, I think. Yeah. We're going to that, plus a bunch of other stuff that I cannot remember at this point in time. But the thing is, that's really entertaining about that is that Vicky knows what's going on, and of course she'll tell me when it comes time to go do it. What are we planting today? Ruru2M has showed up. What's up? Today we are planting, first we were putting in some almond leaves, and we were talking about the fact that there isn't much science behind it. Most of it is just, it's just sort of like a wives' tale, like, hey, this is good for this and this is good for that. There isn't much science behind it, but I do it because I like it. I know that it adds tannins, which are generally good for the health of pretty much anything that I'm going to have in my tanks. And the other reason would be that the shrimp eat it. So whatever kind of shrimp I have in the tank, they'll eat it. So that's good too. So it's not only is it kind of a food source to just kind of have there available, it also adds the tannins and things, which I believe are good for water. And unfortunately, there isn't a ton of science behind it because no one really cares, honestly. The people I know that are doing, there's nothing to fund any kind of scientific study. You know what I'm saying? Like if I was to tell you that, one of the things that we were looking up was ginger is supposed to cure migraines, but no one can fund a study because ginger costs nothing. Basically compared to medicine, right? So no one really funds that. So we've tried it on Vicky. Who knows? Maybe it's working. Just feed her ginger all the time and see if she gets migraines, right? That's science? No, not really. But anecdotal evidence sometimes works out in people's favors. It can't hurt anything, right? Ruru2 saying just use alder cones and maple leaves you get for free. Yeah. I don't like maple leaves because I forget what is in maple leaves. Something is in maple leaves that totally escapes my mind. What is that? I don't know. Something in my head is bad about maple leaves, and I can't remember exactly what it is. And alder cones for sure. I've got some right here in this drug bag. I've got this illicit bag of drugs, a.k.a. alder cones. I keep them fresh in the Ziploc. Yeah, I use alder cones for sure. These ones actually came from a crispy Aquascape. He sent those over, and I'm going to be using those in the 180. I'll be throwing those in the sump very soon. This tank, I actually have a bunch of almond leaves, so I'm like, hey, why am I not going to put them in? But these are the plants. Bleh. These are the plants here that I was talking about, some of the orphan plants that were actually just kicking in a bucket. These were some sump plants that I long since disregarded those of you guys know, I generally have my sumps filled with extra plants, things. If I have overpropagation of plants or trimmings or whatever, I normally just throw them in the sump, let them root down there. And during the move, these went into a different bucket. These went into a bucket that didn't boil, unlike the other buckets that did boil. This one went into one that didn't boil, but it did get really cold. So these plants have been definitely disregarded, having a hard time. But guess what? They're alive. So everyone on the whatever you want to call it, who's that guy? Noah's Ark. Everyone off the Ark and into the fucking fish tank. Pardon my language. There's probably a bunch of kids out there that parents just got pissed off. But I'm really only apologizing to the people that get mad, right? This doesn't meet community standards. But anyhow, everyone off the boat is basically what I'm up to right now. I'm pretty much scavenging around any of these old plants or whatever that I have, and just getting them into the tank, get them back to health. There's a couple of crispus in here. There's a couple of crypts. There's a couple of aponotogens, and not much else. There's not really like a big, weird variety of plants here. There's nothing really that fancy or snazzy or anything like that, but it is positive greenery, and I do wanted to, I had initially had good intentions to really take care of these plants, and maybe I was a little bit lackadaisical / lazy, whatever you want to call it, from just throwing them in my sump. But now, as you can see, I'm having to clear free any kind of crappy roots, trim all these roots, get everything. And some of them are growing like upside down because they're floating in water or whatever. But we're going to get that sorted out in either way. Got them sorted, got them figured out, and got them jammed into the tank, which is pretty much the whole name of the game at this point, right? Get them into the tank, get them growing, get stuff established. And somebody was asking about this tank. Who was asking that? I got to stroll back through here. It's hard to look through all of these because Corey's is the only super chat that stands out. But somebody was asking what was going to go in this tank. And I lost you. I don't know. You're off in the sea of the chat. I don't know. I lost you. You'll have to get back on me if you had that question, whatever that was. I can't find it up here. It's all mixed in. Give me coffee. All the Schedule 40 white PVC fitting fit it perfect. It's clear Schedule 40. Ah, cool, Eddie. If it's clear Schedule 40 and depending on what size is it? Is it 1.5? Is it 2? Whatever size the tube is. And also check the shipping, man. If it's a bunch of money to ship it here, I wouldn't stress about sending the box out here. But if you do, if it is a reasonable number, and make sure that if you go to the post office with it, make sure that you ask them, hey, like, what are some of the options here? Find me the cheap one. More often than not, the post office people are super cool about that stuff. For instance, one of the paintings that I sent to Florida, initially they wanted something crazy like $300 to ship it there, and it was going to take a week. But if I shipped it 2 day, it was like $75. It's like, what the fuck? What are you guys doing? But they're the ones downselling themselves, so either way, it worked. Sarah Ann, yay, she's got Sundays off. I'm glad that I'm coming down. Hopefully it is the weekend of the 2nd. If not, it'll probably be the weekend after that. I'm not 100% sure when we're coming down. We're kind of waiting on the apistos that are currently getting larger as we speak. They're getting larger. The apistogrammas that are going to be going into this tank, they'll be the first little buddies added to this tank. And I'll also... Oh, I was going to say something else, but never mind. That's stupid. But the apistos that are going to go in here, along with some of the other fish, I would like to get all the apistos in here and established before I do anything else. Hopefully I can get them paired up-ish or whatnot. Oh, and Michael R. Hartley just sent it in. That's what it was. You're asking if I was going to just do shrimp or am I going to add fish at this time? Oh, So let me talk about that, and then we'll talk about the other tank. Okay, so this tank right here is going to start out with the Apistos that Potato is breeding right now, which is Sarah Ann was asking, when am I going to come down to their fish breeding madness, which hopefully July 2nd will be going down there. Hopefully July 2nd we'll be going down there, but we're also waiting for those fish to breed or grow enough so that we can kidnap them from you. And I also want to get the reef running-ish, at least filled with salt water, before I come down. And if Potato Bro has the live rock that we were talking about, to be able to grab that and bring it back and get it in a tank right away. Now, one of the reasons I don't have salt water in the reef yet is I have not had any container to make roadie water into, because Carson, the guy who was here last night, had my buckets, and one of his father-in-law or something like that threw a bunch of oily, greasy, garbagey parts and this and that and pushed it out somewhere behind a dumpster. So my garbage cans were toast, okay? So he came and actually just paid me some money so I could go get the new garbage cans, which I was going to do today, but I had no reason for like once in my life to go to Home Depot, so I ended up not going and getting those cans today. But I will be receiving them very, very soon. Next time I go and actually have space in my truck and trailer to grab them, I will be grabbing them and get them and start making some roadie water for the reef so I can get that tank flooded very, very soon. I haven't done too much in the plumbing. I just have everything staged for a video, so one of these nights when it comes time to do another plumbing live stream, we'll be doing that, when that comes up. Also, I'll probably show you guys the roadie setup that I have, which is a pretty basic setup. It's not really that big of a deal. Eddie, can't let Corey be the only one to stand out. It's 2-inch PVC, and don't worry about the shipping. It's worth it to help out. All right, man, thank you very much. I really do appreciate it. I appreciate the super chat. I appreciate the support, and I'll definitely make use of that PVC for sure. It's that crystal clear PVC. If it's 2-inch, that's perfect. It'll work fantastically. And of course, I have a million 2-inch PVC parts in my shop for generally fixing people's houses and fish tanks. So should be pretty simple. And I'll go ahead and make a new reactor that will be going into the 240 post haste, because the one that I have on there is actually one of the old prototype ones that I made at one point in time. And my fittings are all janky because I think I can't remember 100%, but I think I made it for a different sump. So I think it fit into a different sump, if that makes sense. So now it's like kind of jammed in there weird. So I got to make a new one, and Eddie is going to send the clear jobber. So we'll be able to put that together, and you guys can actually get a little bit of a better view looking at it. And hopefully those people that are still kind of stumped by making one, and why a reactor or how a reactor works, you'll be able to look at it and just, space off into the distance and go just, like the weird stars and things like floating around your eyes, and space out, and suddenly a moment of clarity, a Jesus moment, if you will, and boom, you'll be able to make your own. A lot of people have hit me up over the years to make you one. Look, man, I would love to make you one. It's just not worth it for me to charge people for making them. I'd have to charge like $75 for it, if not more, and then shipping on top. It's goofy nonsense. Just take a couple minutes, watch one of my old videos where I'm making one. There's a parts list on there. You can just go get the parts at the store, have the guy at the store help you cut it if it's freaking you out. Hell, even have the guy at the store glue the damn shit together for you if that's really freaking you out. But trial and error, give it a shot. That's the whole way of learning how to do stuff. Trial and error. It's the way to do it. And Joel Gillett with the super chat. Help where possible. Make Earth nice. I like it. That's just a good message, especially from a guy that lives right next to Hobbiton, right next to the Hobbit town where those, barefooted little munchkins run around freaking out about rings and scary ghost kings trying to get them dirty hobbitses. Part of what I was talking about in the live stream earlier is, so you see all that detritus in the earlier video with everything floating around. Here is like basically the next day. All that's all filtered out. And there's already detritus in here from me planting. But as it loops around again, take a look at it and see. Those of you out there that are really stressed out about your unclear water, just keep changing your filter floss. Just keep changing your filter floss, rinse it out nicely, change it out. Another reason why I like a sump is it's really easy for me to do that. It's not like a canister where you got to take it apart, get all this fucking water all over the ground and all this nonsense. Another reason why I have a sump is I can just take the filter floss out, put a new one in, take the other one and go rinse it, and then just set it aside to dry for, tomorrow or whenever I'm going to swap it out. But just keep changing your filter floss. It will clear up. If you're freaking out about that kind of stuff, just keep doing that, and it will clear out. It's really the deal. Eddie West is asking, just curious, do I build my own sumps or do I buy them? It is a combination of the two. I have built a ton of sumps, and I have bought a ton of sumps. Those of you guys who have been following for a long time know that I always recommend people to scour the local Craigslist or whatever internet sales site, local posting site thing, whatever, and find used systems that are out there for a real nice knockoff price. You can find stuff that's been used for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years and is still good as new from people for a tenth of the price. And it really is worth. It is worth your time to go look through Craigslist and find stuff like that. A lot of these valuable pieces that I've gotten, like the 240 here, I've got from either word of mouth, like on through group pages and this and that, like your local fish groups or this or that, or like Craigslist, just kind of scouring Craigslist. Realistically, if you have like a good search that you're looking for, you can generally just kind of pop on in the morning when you're sipping your fresh coffee, wherever my poop mug is. I washed it. It's on the rack. If you're sipping your coffee in the morning, come look. You can go look at the Craigslist and see if anything has popped up. Like one intriguing tank here in the Tacoma, Seattle area that has popped up is actually a trout breeding tank, which is a 1,200 gallon fully fiberglass tank that actually sits. It sits mounted so you can like look in from up above. You can't like look in through the sides. That's really kind of intriguing me right now. But it's 16 feet long, so it's going to be hard to put that really anywhere that I have space-wise. Because the pond, I have a 12-foot by 8-foot space that we're going to be digging the pond out, and it's 4 feet too long, although it's not too wide. But that's one around here that's in that area. The sump that is on the 240 right here is an Innovative Aquarium Products, IAP, tank. I don't even know if IAP is around anymore, honestly. I don't know if they still exist or not. I just don't. I feel like an idiot. I should probably just look it up. Innovative Aquarium. Well, there's... maybe? No. Maybe they're not. It doesn't seem like they are. They don't seem to have an active web page anymore. But I will say this. I've owned a bunch of Innovative Aquarium Products stuff. And their stuff is bulletproof. So if you see something and it's in good shape and it says IAP, has this little sticker on the top of it, it actually is a sticker, which is the funny thing is that like their branding is the one thing that like gets screwed up because it's a sticker and not actually emblazoned in like enamel or anything like that on the tank. But it's normally a sticker that says IAP on it. If you find those, just buy them. Typically you can use your haggling skills, like bust out your haggling skills and buy that thing for a decent price. But you guys get an idea with that video over there, what's going on. All of those orphan plants are going in right behind the driftwood back there, and actually will kind of grow up to about the 12 or 13 inch high margin back there and kind of be frilling around there behind the Dragonstone, which is good. Which is fantastic. So that's Dwayne Kitchell's asking, aren't they just in the UK now? It's possible. I don't know. I tried to look them up. They didn't seem to have an active website. There's Innovative Marine. Innovative Marine. There's Innovative Aquarium Products from 2010. I don't think that seems very active at this point. Boop, 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 boop. Innovative Marine Tank Sumps. Yeah, that Innovative Marine is... I mean, I don't know. Maybe they became that or something? I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I don't know much about the company, honestly. All I know is about some of their tanks and things that have come up that I have used myself. And it is just fantastic stuff. Every time I've gotten a tank from them, they work exactly how they're supposed to. It's just exactly how it is is what I'm looking for. Let's see. Eddie is asking, hey, have I tried the Portet foam? I think it's great. I agree with you. I do think it's great. 100%. It's way too expensive for me, honestly. Just at the rate that I run through this stuff, it is a fantastic product. It just ends up being too much money for me. Mainly the big part of that is that so this stuff that I'm using right now is Pinkies, I believe, is what I got last time, which is not the one that I typically use. The one that I typically use is called PuroClean. It's a little more expensive than Pinkies, but it's cheaper than the Portet foam. The Portet foam really just started socking away how much it costs, so I just got away from it because I just couldn't afford it, honestly. I know a lot of you guys out there that'd be balling hard, telling the ladies about your baller style. If you got the money to do it, I would definitely recommend the Portet foam. But for me, because of how much I use this stuff all the time, I constantly cut it up and do stupid stuff with it. It just ends up getting thrashed, and then I end up throwing it out. So what I ended up doing is kind of just going like, hey, I am going to screw this up. So I might as well prepare myself for it by buying something that's a little bit cheaper that works just about as well. I would say that Portet foam does work better than the PuroClean, but price-wise, that's my big issue. Because, the PuroClean, I get 2 rolls for, I want to say about $30, and the shipping's free. So it's about $30 and the shipping's free. And what am I looking for here? What's the word in my head? It's like 16 feet long, I think. It's 2 8-foot rolls or 2 12-foot rolls. I'm not 100% on that. But either way, I cut it up, and then I get a whole bunch of them. Whereas the Portet foam, I would get like 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So it just ended up being really expensive. And if I got the big sheets of it, it's like $50, I think, or something like that, which still only made like 2 inserts into my sump with like this hanging Chad chunk left over. So that was a big issue for me, which is why I ended up going to the PuroClean. And I really don't feel too bad about if I don't clean it exactly and end up throwing it away. It's not a big ordeal, if you know what I'm saying. So, the Cichlid bra has arrived. Oh, the Cichlid bra. Cichlid bra made it. Up in Canada, it's real dark and scary right now. And sometimes it's hard to make it to the internet when it's that dark and scary in Canada. Deep in the Yukon. Deep in the dark, scary Yukon, you have to fight your way through all of these bears. All of these bears and the woods and like mountain streams and people trying to dig for gold. You got to shoot a couple of miners, get them out of the way. It's very difficult up in Canada. I don't recommend it for the faint of heart. Cichlid bra, he's able to do it. Cichlid bra is a grown adult, a grown man who can and will survive in the mountainous terrains of the Yukon, like, like a real Yukon man is supposed to do. Well, Eddie, I wouldn't remind me that it's over an hour because I generally set this live stream to about an hour, and that's pretty much really what we're getting at right now. Chiclet Bra set the alarm for an hour late. I really appreciate it. I know in Canada it's hard to figure out what an 8 is or a 9 is. I know that those things become really confusing up there because all the bear attacks coming right at your face. You know what I'm saying? It's like, is that 8? Is that 9? Not sure. Living off, seal blubber also, makes it difficult to navigate electronics with just slippery fingers. You know what I mean? I know how it is. I know how it is up there, man. I plan to go live there, but Canada won't let me in. So I have to talk a little bit of shit about Canada because Canada won't let me come in there. Which I respect their opinion because, they own it, right? So hold on a second. I got to scoot over here to the side. Yeah, Eddie, shoot me an email, and I will shoot you my mailing address where I receive my mail. M-A-L-E. That's right. Mail. Address. Well, I don't know why. What is? I don't know. I must have been talking about something. But Dwayne brings up a good point. If you haven't seen Nanook of the North, one of the first documentaries ever made, Nanook of the North, you should definitely give it a gander. I believe it was the first documentary ever made. Check it out. It's a fantastic watch. It's not that long. It's probably like 15 minutes long, something like that. It's not that long. And then if you get really inspired from watching Nanook of the North, Proeneke. Oh, what's his name? Dick Proeneke. You want to look up, what was the movie that he was in? What's that called? Alone in the Wilderness, The Story of Dick Proeneke. And what I'll do is I will copy and paste his name here so you guys can look him up. This guy is one of my heroes. If you were interested in one of my heroes, I will post this up here. And there is a PBS, like Public Broadcasting System, that was a documentary that was put together by Richard Louis Dick Proeneke. And he was a guy who went to Alaska after his kids were all done being raised up and went off to college. He went up to Alaska basically with a saw and an axe and a whole lot of gumption and made himself a cabin from scratch. It is an amazing documentary. You should definitely check it out. That's one of my heroes right there. So it gives you a good idea of the kind of people that I I really revere. Would be a guy like Dick Proeneke. Is a guy that definitely inspires me on a regular basis. If he comes up into my head, I'm like, holy shit, I got to do more of what that guy's doing. It's legit living off the earth. His cabin right now is actually a national monument, I believe, or a national park, or it's on a national park, and it's a historic site or something. You can actually go up to Alaska and go to the cabin that he built. It is preserved right now, and it sounds like I'm farting when I move around in this chair. Trust me, I haven't farted yet. I had cabbage and steak for dinner, so it's probably coming. But that's the guy. Let's see. Joel Gillett's wondering why I'm banned from Canada. You would love to know why that is, wouldn't you? Well, I was a very rambunctious young feller. Back in my day, surprises! There were surprises aplenty all around, bounding through the forest of life. And to simplify it to a point where it doesn't make it sound any really weird for anybody, if you have a bunch of crimes on your record, whether kind of regardless of what they are, Canada will accumulate them into a point score, right? So if you farted in a police officer's face and accidentally fell down a flight of stairs or whatever it is that could be considered a crime in the United States. Actually, 2 of the crimes on my record are noise ordinance violations from making too much noises. At the time, I had too many crimes, and Canada would not let me in. So, Vicky and I are currently in the process of getting approved to come back in while we're getting our passports. So hopefully we can go up to Canada at some point in time. We do have we have an opportunity to deliver a semi up to Alaska through Canada, but we need to get approval to drive through Canada. And hopefully if we can do that, then we're going to do that. But we're just kind of working out the kinks right now to get that sorted out, to make sure that I don't get, they don't arrest you at the border or anything. They just tell you to buzz off, like, hey, mate. Oh, wait, no, that's not Canada. It's like, hey, Canada, you can't come in, okay? Sorry. That's pretty much how it goes down. They're like, sorry, sir, you can't come in here. Then the whippings begin. No, there's no whippings at the border. But either way, I hope to be coming up there fairly soon and make our way through. I know we will be visiting Alaska in not July, August. What is that one? August, yes. We're going up to Alaska in August to go up to the pig farm and do more work up there, which is fantastic because I got an update of some of the pigs the other day. And they look swarthy, and strong, which is good because that's what you want pigs to look like. You want them to look like they're strong and kicking ass and doing pig stuff. My mother just texted me and said that my thumb still looks really odd, which is very nice of her. And some other nonsense. We'll figure that out. Oh, and we lost. Why are we not connected? What happened here? Hey. Take that, XSplit. I'll make you work one way or another. But it probably has something to do with the timing here. We're getting to the end. Eddie, where do you email? Eddie, send me a private private message. DM me up in the DMs. Direct message me on there. And we'll get that sorted. Or connect with me on Facebook, and we'll get all that stuff sorted out. But we're getting to the end here. I got stuff I got to take care of before I go to bed, a.k.a. make lunch before I go to bed because I have to get up at 4 to go up north tomorrow morning. So what else we got? What else we got going on here? He said Aunt Jemima was better than maple syrup. I'd let Joel in. Give Joel a rating of 12.7 out of 10. Well, thank you very much. As a human, I very much appreciated. Let's see here. Eddie, you can direct message me on YouTube. So go to my main page, click through the thing. I had to figure that out this morning because I had to send him a message to Lup Diesel, a.k.a. Robert. A ton of people sent me messages saying that he was going to be getting in a bunch of shrimp, so we'll see what's going on because he messaged me right back, and then I haven't heard from him since. So we'll see what happens with old Lup Diesel himself. Carson Anderson has made it right at the end. What's up, dude? We're about to end the live stream for today. Unless somebody chips in a $400 super chat, then I might stay on for another hour. But other than that, that's about what it is per hour of sleep right now. That's my value. Every hour that goes by, the price probably would go up. But either way, we'll be back. Probably not tomorrow. We'll see if... we will see if, what do you call it? Oh, yeah, Joel Gillett knows how to get to my email. He can send that along to you. Oh, let me, actually, I can just type it in here. Let me put my email in here. Oh, it's going to put it onto the video. I don't want to do that. I'll get a whole bunch of spams about dick pills and nonsense. But go on there, and we'll figure that out. Michael R. Hartley, yeah, he's getting 13K in shrimp. He posted up. He said they haven't come in yet, but or I don't think he's placed the order yet or whatever. But I don't know. We'll find out. We'll see what happens. I've got my line on a few things, but I don't have a bunch of bees in my pants freaking me out. I don't have a bee in my bonnet making me try and get it done tomorrow. I'm pretty patient right now because I don't even have the tank running. Right now I'm getting the 240 cycled and finished up on that so that I can get the Apistos moved in, and then I'll be getting the reef, and then the shrimp tank will be coming back. The shrimp tank shouldn't take too long to set up, honestly, once I get the 240 rolling, because I can insta-cycle the 180, and I might I might be looping them together, honestly. We don't know yet. But in 2 weeks, he will be at Reefapalooza this week. Okay, I don't need to know Lup Diesel's whole schedule. I don't. It's okay. He'll email me back and we'll get it sorted. We'll see what's happening. Don't stress yourselves, guys. It's all good. Everything's fine. But let me see here. So, as somebody was asking earlier, Corey was saying they had told him that Corey was one of the first people that, or he's saying that I was one of the first people that did blah blah blah. So here's a bit from what Robert said. Thanks for reaching out to me. I used to watch your channel all the time before you took a break. I remember you being in an apartment, then a warehouse, and then a garage. Great times, man. Glad to see you back and making videos, blah, blah, blah. So everything's fine. It's all good. He'll get back to me. Be patient. And we'll see what he gets coming in. I gave him a list of the things I'm looking for. And if he gets them, then totally cool. If he doesn't get them, then totally cool. Not a big deal. It's not going to be a huge issue. But the main ones that I'm looking for is a Green Hulk. Green Hulks, Blue Bolts, or the Pintos are the three that I'm looking for. Those are the ones that I told him. If I'm going to get something shipped in, the Pinto Galaxies, the Green Hulks, or the Blue Bolts, those are the ones that I'm going to get shipped in. If it comes down to me just going back to doing Crystal Blacks and that kind of stuff, I can get them locally, and I will get them locally if that's what's going to happen. But if I'm going to get something shipped in, it's one of those three varieties of crystal shrimp, okay? So that realistically, if that gives you guys a little bit of clarity, those are the three that I'm going to get shipped in. Anything else I'm going to go ahead and fight to get locally is what's going to end up happening. And if I have to go locally to drive up to Edmonds or Ravenna or Shoreline or Federal Way or Auburn or Tacoma or whatever, I'm going to go local for anything else that is pretty basic. That's basically just how that's going to work out. I would rather drive 15 minutes than send stuff halfway around the world and kind of support the local guys, honestly. And I really don't think that, like, Lup Diesel needs my business. He's doing really well, which is fantastic. It's so awesome. I love that shit. It is fantastic. The dude, I think the last video of his I saw, he was setting up like a 200 tank room or something. I don't know, some giant room that he's setting up, which is awesome. I think that's great. I hope that there are more gigantic rooms like that in the future for everybody, realistically. That's the way I feel about it. There's enough space on this planet for 8 billion people. There's enough space on this planet for everybody to have at least one shrimp tank in their house. Why not? It's not that big of a deal, right? But I guess, yeah, the itineraries are important and all that stuff. But like I was trying to say, I'm not in a huge rush. Like, I don't need it. I don't need them to show up tomorrow morning. So I'm not stressing too much about it. I'm just kind of spitballing in my head things that are going on, and they're all good. Everything is good. But everyone that told me to reach out to him, I did. He got back to me, and we'll see what happens. But those are the three that I'm specifically looking for. And if he doesn't get them in, all good. But I feel like I've talked about this for way too long. So I would like to say thank you very much to everybody for your Super Chat contributions. All of the money that you guys send here goes back into the fish room and hopefully into more breeding projects, building new stuff, and things coming up video-wise for you guys. I do these live streams for you guys and for myself. So those of you that don't like it, I'm very sorry. It's not for you. I'm doing this because I would much rather have a live interaction with everybody on the internet that wants to come on and ask questions and whatnot. there are plenty of people out there making 3-minute videos with flashy changes and all this kind of stuff. And if that's the thing that you like, awesome. I'm not going to spend a boatload of time editing quick videos together any longer. I'm going to keep shooting these long formats and doing these live streams, and you guys contributing into them is what will make me keep doing them. So thank you to Eddie Kaitia, Corey from Aquarium Co-op. Hopefully I'll see Corey from Aquarium Co-op tomorrow. We'll see how that goes. And Joel Gillett, of course, from New Zealand. Carson, Dwayne, Michael, everybody else for coming out. I'm going to miss 100 names here at the end, but honestly, if you really want me to give you a shout out, the super chat's the easy way to do it, because this is a real short list right over here. Wait, hold on. It's like down here. It's a short list that I'm able to read off and whatnot. But I much appreciate everybody hanging out and watching the video and just chatting away and being generally a good time. And Eddie, I'm going to email you from my email here. So hold on in just a minute. I'll get it to you here quickly. But I have to sign into all that stuff, and I'm not going to do that while I'm on a live stream. But needless to say, thank you everybody for coming out. Happy Monday. Stay safe out there. Try not to end up with any strange bacteria on your pee-pee or anything like that. Be very careful out there in the dangerous world. Beard on the mic. Beard on the mic. Beard on the mic. Later.